Now, it is universally known at this point that Lucasfilm is by far the worst division at the Walt Disney Company for several reasons, and the main one, of course, is the fact that Bob Iger decided to let Kathleen Kennedy stay at the company and continues to actually allow her to seek a contract renewal. This is an ongoing back-and-forth situation happening right now behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm, as well as the Walt Disney Company, as Kathleen Kennedy is just about getting ready to extend her contract deal at least at minimum until 2027. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, there's been a lot of anger going on behind the scenes between Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, the Disney executives. We have a lot of board members, by the way, turning their back against Kathleen Kennedy, really, going against her because of what she did with the Acolyte series, but not nearly enough members to the point where it would basically be all of them agreeing with each other. We still have a lot of supporters of Kathleen Kennedy that are actually pushing for her to stay at Lucasfilm as much as she wants to as well. But this is where things begin to get very interesting. Now, we know that Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger are in a constant shakeup lately based on what Bob Iger has been doing against Lucasfilm HQ with all the cost-cutting measures, all of the cancellations that have been going on, all of the projects that are being put on hold and thrown into production limbo. There's been a lot of things going on like that, and Kathleen Kennedy's not happy about it one bit. Now, this is where things begin to really get interesting and begin to really pick up. Now, we already know that Kathleen Kennedy is desperately trying to cling to her career as the president of Lucasfilm and as a producer of all things Star Wars, which, by the way, is not going so well right now. With the Walt Disney Company already beginning to apply their third phase of Bob Iger's cost containment strategy, one major development going on currently has more to do with Lucasfilm, one of the most failed divisions at the company. A crucial update to the situation now involved Kathleen Kennedy and more to do with how she has been battling the Disney executives after she lost out on millions of dollars, as it turns out, where, of course, her situation is worse than what was initially known. Bob Iger just recently decided to shred and drastically minimize Kathleen Kennedy's contract deal that they are offering if she decides to extend her contract until 2027 at minimum. However, Iger also recently took action against Kennedy by canceling over 10 Star Wars projects that were going to supply Kennedy an estimated, get this, $20 million as a producer over the years for all of those projects that are now officially no longer happening. Now, this involved a series of High Republic movies and TV shows that have been axed just recently, some of which were and were not connected to the Acolyte series. Other projects that were axed included new Star Wars films that were going to adapt sequel trilogy-based characters and events beyond Rey to get their own films. Kennedy also reportedly is furious over how Iger also made the quick call to cancel practically all Star Wars TV shows and only kept a very small percentage of them on the roster, as they are now looking to shift away from TV and to movies instead. Kennedy is already demanding to have all of those projects reinstated and to build them back into her contract, and this is where the disagreement is said to take place with her contract extension, where Kennedy is reportedly not happy about the list of projects that she is being offered for her contract extension and got very emotional behind the scenes. Now, between all the projects, Disney's new contract deal that they are offering to Kathleen Kennedy now reportedly is only going to provide Kennedy a handful of projects that she will be able to produce, while Disney is looking to experiment with other producers to create their own films and television programs if and when the TV shows go back into production. Now, this is also something that Kathleen Kennedy is angry about, is the fact that she will now officially no longer be able to produce every single Star Wars project moving forward. Only she accepts, of course, a contract extension. Now, this is going to break the initial $20 million plan by Disney for Kennedy over a period of 3 to 4 years that she was set to actually have beforehand. That is now no longer moving forward, given that more producers are going to be supervising some of those projects that will be taking over the initial Kathleen Kennedy projects. So guys, let me just stop right here for 1 second before I move on. Now, I think it's a very good move that Disney is doing this, but I'm not defending Disney by any means. I don't believe that this is going to make Star Wars better. You know why? There's a lot of Kathleen Kennedy loyalists over at Lucasfilm. There's a lot of those that actually love what Kathleen Kennedy has been doing over at Lucasfilm. And must I add, the producers that they are looking to actually take and to actually bring on to these new Star Wars projects are those that actually looked up to Kathleen Kennedy. So it makes absolutely no sense at all as to what they are doing. It honestly sounds very counterproductive. You would think that you would want producers that are not necessarily Kathleen Kennedy loyalists or those that look up to Kathleen Kennedy and her work. Seems like this is just being done out of spite because they don't want that Kathleen Kennedy name in the credits, or they don't want her slapped on there as a producer to actually have her name shown to the fans. Regardless, it's not gonna fix or resolve the problem at the end of the day. It just sounds like it's a little bit of trickery going on by Disney to the audience members to say, hey, here's a new Star Wars project, but Kathleen Kennedy's name is not on there, so go ahead and check out this movie or this TV show. But in the end, it's going to be produced by another Kathleen Kennedy loyalist. Not a big surprise. So in the end, alright, this is where things begin to get interesting, is that Kennedy is already challenging this, and it's the main reason why there has been a snag with the progress on her contract extension. In addition to all of that, this is now creating an even bigger grudge between Kennedy and Bob Iger, as other board members are demanding Kennedy to not seek a contract renewal. Now, this is why we really haven't heard about that renewal just yet, per se. We haven't really heard a lot of development on the progress of what's going on her decision there. So, it sounds like she is on the fence. Do I stay? Do I leave? What do I do? That's basically her thinking process right now. And I think in the end, she's gonna stay. Most certainly she will. I don't see her dropping out in 2024. As much as I would like to see that happen, even if she did, I genuinely do not believe it would make that much of a difference at Lucasfilm, because like I said before, you have a lot of Kathleen Kennedy loyalists working there. A lot of those built into the Lucasfilm story group, the Lucasfilm executives, the vice president too. All of them pretty much support everything that Kathleen Kennedy has done since 2015 and plans to do moving ahead. Now, this is where we all know that Bob Iger is beginning to somewhat try to course correct, but at the same exact time, it's really not correcting anything. If you're just going to bring on producers, like I said before, that are Kathleen Kennedy loyalists, where is that really going? What kind of progress is that? It's nothing more than master trickery by Disney. Alright, so what's interesting about this too is the fact that you have Kennedy now losing out on all of those funds, alright? The millions of dollars that were supposedly going to be built into her contract for all those projects that are now not actually happening anymore, many of which are not going to involve her as a producer. It sounds like Disney wants to keep her more on the business end of the spectrum at Lucasfilm instead of the creative end. That seems like to be the new transition that they're trying to make with this new contract. And I can understand that because a lot of fans never wanted her to be involved, creatively speaking. So overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.